ever noticed that sometimes you don't immediately like a person or a song or a phrase, but then after hearing it a few times, you notice you start to like it more?
Or at least it growing on you.
Or like if it's a person, they might even seem kind of attractive. That's actually not random. There's actually a psychology thing behind this, and it's called the mere exposure effect. Welcome to one of my yap sessions. This will probably be one of my more intelligent ones. I do have a psychology degree from one of the top universities in Canada,
A degree that I don't use.
so I sort of know what I'm talking about here. I don't know, I'm worried that if I say that, and then if I ever say something stupid in the future, I'll get my degree revoked or something.
Anyway,
So, the mere exposure effect is the idea that the more we're exposed to something, the more we tend to like it. Not in every situation though, but in general, familiarity can make things more comfortable. But with people, someone can start to feel more likable or more attractive as you start to see them around more often. There's actually a study that shows this. In 1992, researchers Moreland and Beach conducted a study in a college classroom where they had four fairly similarly looking women attend a lecture throughout the semester. The women didn't talk to the other students, they just showed up. One woman attended the class 15 times, another attended 10 times, another one attended 5 times, and one didn't attend at all. And then at the end, the students were shown photos of the women and were asked to rate how much they liked them. And the more often the women had simply shown up in the classroom, the more they were rated higher. Which is kind of wild because nothing really happened. They weren't flirting, the women weren't flirting with anyone, they weren't drawing any special attention to themselves. They were just simply familiar because the other students had seen them around. And that familiarity created a sort of liking. I think this is especially interesting because first impressions are made so quickly. Apparently, within the first 7 seconds upon meeting or something. And if you don't wow them during that time, they might label you as boring. And honestly, as a slowpoke who needs to think a lot before speaking, I sometimes feel like I don't even have the time to react and think properly before I'm expected to respond to someone during a fast-paced conversation, which is all conversations for me. But the mere exposure effect is kind of a nice reminder that not everything has to happen instantly. Sometimes it's just being around enough. And I don't mean forcing yourselves into people's lives, okay? This isn't about chasing people or annoying people or being like, if I appear enough times, they'll like me. Please don't do that. Do not be a stalker. That is not what this information is for. It's more about letting yourself be visible and present in places where you naturally belong. Because if you're always hiding and waiting until it's the perfect time for you to pop up, people won't really get the chance to become familiar with you. And I feel like a lot of shy people, anxious people, or people who are afraid of rejection accidentally make themselves invisible. Like you might think, no one cares anyway, or I'll show up when I look better, I'll talk when I'm feeling more confident. But sometimes the way you are is what people connect to, with the version of you that's just there and real. And what's also comforting is that one awkward introduction doesn't mean that you ruined everything forever. Sometimes people just need repeated exposure before something clicks. And with dating, I think this is also interesting because attraction doesn't always happen like lightning. Sometimes it builds. Like their voice becomes comforting, their habits become endearing. You start noticing the way they laugh or react to small moments, and they just become what you want to be around at the end of a long day. And then one day you're like, wait, why am I thinking about this person like this? But there is an important distinction here. The mere exposure effect works best when the initial feeling is positive or neutral. It's not a magic spell. If someone already feels uncomfortable around you, seeing you more and more isn't necessarily going to make them like you more. And I think that's an important distinction because this is where people can misunderstand the idea. This is not about trying to place yourself into someone's life until they finally choose you. It's not about forcing closeness or hovering or, God forbid, stalking. There's a difference between someone thinking, it's nice to see them again, versus why are they always here? So the point is less about making people see you and more so stop hiding from the places where you naturally belong. Bunny bunny. And don't try to control the outcome. Say hello, let the conversation go where it needs to go, and let it end when it ends. And also, important thing here, I am not teaching this for manipulation purposes. It is to help the anxious and the fearful. Anyway, not every interaction has to mean something immediately. Sometimes it's just having enough self-respect to show up, be present, and then return to your own life. And I think that part is really comforting to me personally. Because if, like me, if you're someone who tends to disappear or overthink or go into hermit mode when you have a bad mental health episode, and to feel the need to wait, to be perfect before you let yourself finally be seen, maybe the answer isn't to become louder or to perform some perfect, confident version of yourself. Maybe it's just to stop disappearing from your own life, to let people experience you in small, normal, human ways. And a lot of it is built through small, repeated moments. And maybe that's a nice thing to remember if you feel the pressure to need to be constantly and instantly perfect. You don't have to be. The right people will still love you, even if it is eventually. Thanks for staying and watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. And if you like my rambles, please subscribe for more. I ramble a lot. I very much appreciate your support. May you charm someone by merely existing as your beautiful self.